All right, so as I honestly expected, Chris's feelings on Kingdom Hearts 3 were complicated. I get the feeling your feelings on Endgame may not be as complicated.
No.
Avengers Endgame, thoughts?
Fun. Entertaining.
Okay.
I usually rank Avengers movies by in comparison to the first one, and what great vibes and how cohesive and consistent that the story is, and how consistent characters were in their previous movies to Avengers 1 and to how they are currently.
Yeah.
And I think that Endgame was good. I thought it was fun. I know there's a lot of critical people out there who
it is much like Dark Knight Rises in that you can find plot holes so easily.
You can,
especially when you add time travel in.
Yeah, time travel's tricky, and I'm usually really critical about time travel, but I'm of the impression that because they made time travel into less like Back to the Future and more like multiverse.
That's the smarter way to go.
Yeah, they made it more like Dragon Ball Z. Honestly,
we still got questions, but
and I think that they gave themselves a little bit more wiggle room that way.
Yes,
I'm like, fine.
I remember after they're done with the first Avengers in New York, I'm like, that Captain America is going to have a fucked up future because I think it's a Hydra agent, and Loki told him that Bucky's alive.
Yeah, that's going to be several things.
And that Loki is escaping. That's what his series is going to be about.
It's going to be about
because the Loki we've grown up with, he's dead.
He's dead. Yeah. But now there's
still evil Loki.
There's Loki Part 2, who's evil, who has not made friends with his brother.
But he's also probably falling out of favor with Thanos.
He's falling out of favor with Thanos.
Where the fuck is he going to go? We'll see.
Yeah, and the Thanos is dead.
Both of them.
well, here's my theory. So Endgame did its thing. Tony did the snap, and Thanos is dead. Well, both Thanoses are dead.
Oh yeah, Thor killed the original.
But I'm of the impression that
he wished for the multiverse Thanos?
Yes. I'm of the impression that Tony killed all Thanos.
Who knows?
We don't know
he
yet.
wasn't able to really verbalize what he said he did.
Yeah, but, and the reason I say that is because it takes a lot of juice to do like those kind of wacky universe reality bending spells that Thanos did.
Well, they also say for a normal human just can't handle them. Period.
Yeah. So of course, like he burned out and like all of his internal resources died. But at the same time, I'm still like, did the stones take a lot of energy from a normal human being?
Yes.
But it really seems like a very mundane kind of wish, quote unquote, to just get rid of that Thanos. And Tony's a smart dude. Tony would be thinking 5 or 10 steps ahead, theoretically.
So he was like, think together of every Thanos.
Yeah, he's like, I'm getting tired of seeing this purple shithead, and if I'm going to go, I'm taking all of them with me.
Yeah. Did you read about how they originally considered introducing the alternate Thanos?
How?
He would enter through the portal. He would say that before he left, he went to the Avengers of his world and killed them and throws Cap's decapitated head to them.
Ooh.
But they were like, that might be a bit horrifying.
That might be a bit much.
Yeah.
So, they have to keep it...
I thought him unveiling his new plan was ominous enough.
I
was literally like, what the fuck is he planning now?
Yeah, like, what more can you do other than 50% off? 100% off?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm doing 100% off. I'm like...
And I'm assuming including his own armies. He's like, rain fire on them.
Yeah.
Like, what a selfish prick.
Yeah, he is. And I'm like... and of course, when he does this, I'm like... So, in our trying to make Thanos more... relatable, well, not relatable, but believable as a human being, and strip him of all the quote-unquote cartoonish comic book I am in love with death kind of villainy. Well, they brought him back to, I'm going to destroy the universe, which is as cliche as it gets for villains.
I think that's one of the prevailing complaints. Thanos isn't as strong as he was in Infinity War.
No, which, there's a reason for that. He doesn't have the stones.
And he hasn't gone through...
Yeah, I said it! But...
on his face. He's got a big purple nutsack.
He does have a big purple...
That's what Star Wars says.
Yeah, he does.
Let her go, Grimace.
In story, in Endgame, he's not as strong as he was in Infinity War.
Less screen time, too.
Well, yeah, and that's fine because he's still a force to be reckoned with. He took down Thor and Tony and Cap like it was nothing.
And Cap with a hammer.
Which was fucking awesome, but he still lost.
And cut the shield in half.
He did.
Yes.
And
he only took... I don't know if he could take down Wanda, and I don't think he could have taken down Captain Marvel without the Power Stone.
No, there's
he's
no
a fucking
way.
cheater.
That shit was great, though.
The headbutt?
The headbutt, and she ate that shit.
She doesn't care. And that's like, he's like, oh!
He's like if there was a time when...
If he was comedic villain, he would say, this is normally when people fall down.
Yeah, if he was... if Thanos never felt fear in his entire life, he felt it in that
Yes.
moment, which was like purple time.
Yes.
Like blasted her
So
away.
I wrote some notes because I actually just re-listened to our Infinity War talk.
Yeah.
Because I remember, so both speculation and one thing is because you had to wait a week to see Infinity War because of work, you had the Spider-Man death spoiled because of the memes.
Yeah, I did.
Did you see Endgame opening day or
I saw it 2 weeks after.
did you have anything spoiled by then?
I did not.
Good.
Yeah.
That's the one you really didn't want anything spoiled because
Yeah.
Spider-Man came back.
I seeing Spider-Man die in Infinity War,
So
knowing
tough.
that, it was tough. But if they're killing Spider-Man, he has to come
if
back.
they're killing Black Panther,
If they're killing Black Panther,
You
knowing
know.
they had it too in the contract.
they're killing Doctor Strange, if they're killing every Guardian, but two of them, yeah. That's all. But it was not a question of if, but how.
Yeah.
And actually, we were looking back on, because we speculated how they're going to bring it back. Mm-hmm. I guess time travel, granted, with the time stone.
So you basically won that bet.
Well, not the method.
Okay.
Because I don't think people were thinking about Ant-Man as being the key to that. You had guessed, you made the Full Metal Alchemist comparison. They're
did.
all in the truth.
They're
not dead.
all in the door,
It's like,
yeah.
no, they're 100% gone, but we didn't think about that the someone with the gauntlet could do the same thing in reverse.
Can just reverse the snap or bring them back from the dead or something.
But ultimately, that was a big plot point in terms of what it takes. Because I think they've confirmed Hulk's arm is gone, pretty much. He's going to keep that sling.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, his arm's not going to heal, which sucks. But they've.
I mean, he already got such a big amount of growth for him in this movie.
He did, and
we're not going to see a regular kind again.
I personally think they could have done a little bit more with the Hulk. I'm not sure what.
Well, the fact that of the remaining of the six, he, Thor, and Hawkeye are still around.
Yeah,
because I think those actors are still interested in doing more.
Yeah,
so we'll probably
they're just not going to be mainstays, and the spotlight's not going to be on them.
He maybe could get another Avengers or Ragnarok equivalent again.
He could. It would, and it would be nice. It's just I personally think that the Hulk could have been used more as a character instead of basically handicapping him. It seems like it seems more like an excuse than a reason.
Okay,
to just debilitate his arm.
That's understandable.
And I see that more as a disappointment more than as an opportunity,
a flaw,
or more as an opportunity to bring in newer characters.
Yeah,
but I mean, we'll see.
We've got three still around. We've technically got one more Black Widow thing. It's I'm disappointed to find out it's not going to be an origin story. It's set in between Civil War and Infinity War, like what she was doing when she and Cap were fugitives.
All right, yeah, that would be cool.
But I guess that's also a reason we can't make Natalie Portman ScarJo look like 15 years younger. She's been other than Robert Downey Jr. She's the mainstay who's been around the longest.
Yeah, that's right.
They recast Rhodey and Hulk. Mm-hmm. And another thing I wanted to say, because you were really one of your favorite things about Infinity War was feeling for Thor the most you felt in a while.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about his arc in Endgame? Because they made it front and center.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I wish I felt a little bit more about his mom being okay with dying.
Well, my favorite thing about that is that it's the most growth she ever and personality she ever got.
True.
Is that the one thing when she dies in Dark World, it has no impact. She had 3 lines.
That's true.
This was let's give Rene Russo a moment.
They did that purposely.
My mom could appreciate that because she was in the remake of Thomas Crown Affair, which is one of her favorite movies ever.
And I'm glad that she had time to really be.
I was raised by witches, darling. I can tell.
I'm totally from the future. Yeah, I'm glad that she had time to be a character instead of being a trope, which is
be a mentor.
Instead of being Mom's going to die, and I'm oh cool, all right.
Yeah, it's who was she before? Odin's wife. Okay, what else?
Neat. Yeah. But she had time to actually console her son, which is a real fucking thing.
Yes,
and
maternal figures do that.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's missing the forest from the trees and inevitably lazy for a lot of people to look down on Thor's growth in Endgame. Not so much where it's they turn him into a big man baby. He's supposed to be the guardian.
People were complaining about fat shaming.
Yeah, which I can see.
Sure.
But when in my experience,
I thought they focused on it less as the movie went.
Yeah, when I back a few years ago when I was depressed, I did gain weight. Not Thor weight.
Yeah.
But it was...
I'm still dealing with depression and I've gained some weight.
There you go.
Well, some of it, but not all of it.
But that's not everyone's case, so there's that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there was that comic relief kind of aspect.
What other time are you going to have Tony call him Lebowski?
There's that.
Especially since Tony's dead.
And I think that is the one... I think that's part of the reason they did that so they could use that joke, and it was a good joke. I have to
admit. Even though it opens questions like, did Obadiah Stane ever get called Lebowski? Also,
yeah, and like, who else is in this universe? Tony mentioned Squidward, so does that mean that SpongeBob exists?
Clearly,
yeah.
Dora does. Limited edition watch.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that Dora movie's getting good reviews. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. In a time when The Lion King and Aladdin
that tweet
are not.
Yeah, that and what's the other one? Anyway,
I do think that there is weight behind Thor being fat shamed. But even beyond that, there's a lot of really bad faith criticism on Thor, quote unquote, not being a man in this film.
He was suffering from trauma.
He was suffering. Yeah.
It all comes from not going for the head.
He couldn't go for the head. Two, his entire...
He had already lost everyone before that.
He's already lost everyone.
Yeah.
Especially his brother.
His family, Heimdall, a lot of his other warrior friends. Though, and we didn't learn until this movie that the other Ragnarok newcomers were okay.
Yeah.
They were purposely nebulous about it.
Yeah, they're very nebulous about it.
Also, but Fortnite is definitely canon in MCU.
Fortnite is definitely canon.
He's back.
But in that regard, I do think Thor's growth in Endgame was fine. Mm-hmm. And I think that it was a major part of the film because in the beginning of the film, Thor did kind of fuck up. Yeah. There's nothing else that anyone could do.
I actually noticed he only has 2 lines in that opening section before the time jump. Yeah. I like this one, and I went for the head. He's fucked up.
Yeah.
And once it becomes clear they can't bring everybody back with Thanos, that cements that he's scarred.
Yeah, and we forget that Ragnarok happened and his entire planet's gone.
Yeah, and that was the thing in Infinity War. Like, what more do I have to lose?
Yeah, and it's not like it's a Clark Kent situation where Clark loses his planet but never knew about his home because he was a kid.
No, Earth was not his home.
No, this was Thor is a man who grew up on his planet, got to know his people. Lost his father, lost his mother, lost his brother, lost his planet, lost his people, lost his purpose.
Couldn't save the universe.
Consistently losing.
Yeah.
I failed to see how else you're supposed to feel at your lowest point.
That is one of my favorite character things about this movie is just making you realize how the past 3 movies have been a steady deconstruction of Thor.
Yeah.
When they were like, this regal path we've had with the first one is not working as much as we hoped. Let's invert it. Especially by the end, when he gives New Asgard to Valkyrie.
Yeah.
He admits, I've been the past 5 years boozing myself. You're a real king. You're a real queen. And, I mean, I'm still hoping he's going to be in Guardians 3, but now we've got Love and Thunder happening.
Yeah.
And also, whoever thought we'd see Natalie Portman come back. Apparently Taika Waititi sat her down and like...
That was a big surprise to me because I was sure that she was not coming back.
Yeah, her and Hugo Weaving. They recast Red Skull.
Yeah.
But she was showing up at the premiere. She didn't record any new footage for Endgame. That was all from Dark World. But yeah. So on one other real quick question, if you didn't cry, what were your most emotional parts?
The most emotional parts, I gotta say, the time travel part was a bit of a beeline for me. Or not beeline.
It's the most comedic part, except for what happens to Natasha.
It is comedic and it is fun, but it's also the point where I wasn't expecting anything new to happen. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff happening.
Yes,
but I'm still like, okay.
I was worried about that.
Yeah, I was kind of like, all right, when are we going to get past this so we can fight Thanos? Which is, that part is fine. That's the Act 2 lull, and I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. So because it wasn't boring.
No.
But it wasn't terribly exciting either.
You kind of feel, I think I'll say, it definitely feels like 3 movies each act.
Yeah, it does.
First one is like Logan, second is Time Heist, third, last Avengers movie.
And you know what? I think Ant-Man does provide that good comedic aspect to it.
You can be so happy. I love him.
Just yelling, you're repeating yourself like multiple times is definitely hilarious.
That's America's ass.
Yeah. There are some good lines and there are some good moments in that. But I think that part is more of a tribute to all the characters.
It really is.
Yeah,
it really that must have been the impetus behind it. Like one last hurrah for a lot of we're probably not going to see Howard Stark in the Ancient One again.
No, which is a shame. But it's the end of the story. And
you got to move on if you want to stay fresh.
Yeah,
and some of the actors were ready to move on. Though apparently it was very emotional for Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. to film their last scenes.
Heard.
Like, apparently when they finished the very last scene with him and Anthony Mackie, everybody was just tearing up.
Yeah. This has been a long journey for everyone involved.
People compared it to serialized television. Mm-hmm. Especially since they bumped it up to 3 movies a year, you're getting, 9 half hours.
We're
10.5 hours of movie.
We all forget, when like a big movie like Marvel and stuff happens, like we only see like all the happy parts. We always see like, and this is what we're going to do, and you can tell all the passion and all the good stuff. Yeah. Well, I mean,
this one devoted a third of it, so let's be sad.
It's a professional way of marketing the film.
Oh yeah.
But we don't see like the arguments. We don't see like the
that opening
dramatics.
where Tony goes off on Cap.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
It was crazy. I think plot wise, I didn't buy it, but not acting wise. Only so far as like character wise.
That's like the most legit pissed, other than when he found out what Bucky did.
He was pissed, but then I was like, you didn't call Cap last movie, so
still on you. Yep, that's been one of your. Oh, and I meant to ask you because when we did our Nerd Marvel talk, you kind of soured on Tony over time, both with his sequels and things being his fault technically.
I did.
So now that his story's over, what are your feelings on Tony as a whole?
I feel kind of more. I'm in a weird kind of limbo here because
emotional purgatory.
Well, I am because when I first got into the Marvel films with Iron Man, I was not a fan of this Tony archetype. Rich billionaire playboy who gets
one night stands.
Yeah, gets everything he wants. I'm like, this guy sounds like an asshole. Why should I like him?
Yeah.
And the movie is like, well, he gets to grow and stuff. And I'm like, it still seems like an asshole. And over time, like, Tony reveals, like, he's...
sides to him.
Well, he does reveal sides to him. I'm like, okay, I like him more.
I think what certainly helped was developing the paternal side, both Peter and then Morgan.
Which I liked more. I have to say that over the course of these movies, I do feel better about Tony. Yeah. And I think part of that is me coming to terms with, Chris, the actors are not the characters they play. So maybe grow up a little bit.
Your problem was Robert Downey Jr.?
I had problems
because of his history.
Not really Robert Downey Jr. or his history. I just had problems with that archetype. Like around this time, like we see in modern day media, we see a lot of that archetype. And we kind of glorify it a little.
Sometimes villainized. Yeah. Usually it's one extreme or the other.
Sometimes, but I mean with. The 80s were really big on that.
Oh, Wall Street.
Yeah. And so my natural inclination is when I see that, it is to buck up against it hard.
Because cultural tastes have shifted.
Well, yeah. But I also just don't like assholes.
Of course.
So I really had
That's why Cap didn't like him in his first movie. I don't like bullies.
Yeah, which is probably why I like Cap. But but when I took a step back and I really re-examined why I felt that way, I was like, okay, Chris, RDJ is not this character. No. He's playing the character. You can't do that. You can't criticize the person for acting like the person that you're paying money to see. So I took a step back and I was like, okay, that's fair. So now that Endgame is over, and now now I have a better lens in looking at these characters,
and seeing where he ends up.
And seeing where he ends up, I'm like, okay, all right. Okay, that's fine, and it sucks because. And
I think we did get away from another thing. I was asking, what were the most emotional parts for you?
That was an emotional part.
Tony's whole
Tony sacrificing himself legitimately for the universe, which is like it's not subtle.
But the Tony in Iron Man 1 wouldn't have done that probably.
He probably wouldn't,
especially because he wasn't a dad yet.
Especially seeing as though that Doctor Strange, being a rich, arrogant prick like Tony, has to tell him, this is what you have to do.
With one finger.
Not
the middle one.
Yeah, but essentially saying, you kind of have to sacrifice yourself, dude. It's the only way it's going to work.
And that's one of the biggest reasons he can't tell anybody how it has to go. People are pointing out, if you're rewatching Infinity War, when he first does it, it's like, Tony asks, he's saying, like, I look for 50 million. And Tony goes, how many do we win? He looks at him like really great. Well, he said it really like he chokes up for a second. 1. Yeah. Because he's looking in the face. He knows... Yeah,
he knows that it's got to be Tony who does it,
but he can't tell him.
Yeah, it fucking sucks. Knowing that Tony sacrifices himself for the universe, seeing like the growth that he is, that is written into his character. There are some things that are inconsistent, which I'm gonna buck up against, but not a big deal. Okay, I think it's worth it. I mean, the fact that Tony built himself a family, knowing that he had to leave his family, knowing that basically. Having his not illegitimate son. What's the word?
Oh, his surrogate son.
His surrogate son die in his arms.
Yep. That fucked him up.
Yeah, and that fucked everyone up. That fucked the entire world up. Didn't fuck me up because I was like, nah, shit. Because I was like, I haven't even seen the movie and now I know that happens.
Thanks, Twitter.
Thanks, Twitter. You're making my life a better time. Cool.
Twitter rarely does that.
Yeah, rarely. So I didn't choke up, but I did feel bad.
It's like me at Toy Story 3.
Yeah. I was like, fuck. Damn, Tony. Yeah, you had to do it. And that was a shame.
It felt right, though. Well, both for me, because it feels like his arc has done... I don't know where else I could take his arc interesting places.
This is true.
And, it's that's part of the reason that this is a finality kind of type of thing. Like, time for new blood.
Yeah.
We've got some more recent heroes. We're about to get more. We're about to get Shang-Chi. Who knows what else we'll see. So,
Yeah, and...
Did you like Cap's wrap up, too?
I did like Cap's wrap up, and it was the one thing that I wanted, and that was for him to have his last dance.
And that life with Peggy.
Yeah. And I was... and they gave me what I wanted there.
Yeah.
So I was... As long as that happened, I was actually okay with the movie. Because knowing that they actually gave Steve a good send-off showed me that they were actually thinking of the characters more.
I was worried they were just going to straight up kill him.
Yeah, but knowing that they did Thor a good service, knowing that they did Tony a good job, and...
This could be the last movie. I think the only thing that they kind of tease is what's next for the Guardians and Gamora.
Yeah.
Which, obviously, we're going to find out eventually.
So... There's that 5-year gap. After, Tony and Steve we're still bucking. We're still not cool after
Tony
Civil
went off
War.
to a cabin with his family.
Yeah. And, they came over and Tony was cordial. He was like, come on in, let's get drinks. And you can tell there's still a little animosity there.
And then once they started talking about the plan, he brushed him off first, and then thinking about Peter and stuff. He's
But he was still, when he started thinking about it a little bit more, he was still...
hesitant.
He was still very hesitant, and he didn't talk to
Pepper.
Yeah,
he did talk to Pepper about it.
He did talk to Pepper,
and she's the one who convinces him.
Yeah, and I love
says goodbye to him. She was aware of what could have. Apparently, people were saying in one of the earlier movies, she says something like, "You can't just walk away from saving the world so many times. Eventually, you're gonna kill yourself doing it. I don't want to be there when it happens."
Yeah,
but it happened. But she was there,
and she was there, and the fact that a lot of people look at it as, oh, Gwyneth Paltrow is giving Tony permission to do this. I'm like, have you been married? It's that's what you do in a relationship. You talk about big decisions. It's not like the dude does the big surprising thing to wow his wife.
Not anymore, no.
No, I mean, you shouldn't. It's not healthy.
No.
And even if you flip that, it's not healthy.
I think that's another one of my favorite things about this whole arc is seeing him and Pepper's bond grow over time.
Yeah.
Kind of a great point to end at, too. Because she apparently, Gwyneth Paltrow might be done with it, too. I can't see any reason outside of a cameo for her to show up.
Yeah, I mean, by this point, it's just her and the daughter. So
yeah. And there's still Rhodey and Happy. Happy was in Far From Home, so I think we'll see Rhodey again, too.
Yeah. I think that, aside from a couple characters... That Endgame did everybody pretty well,
and it was a fun time.
It was fun. Yeah. I had a good time. It's not on my top 5.
No, it's not Black Panther.
No, it's not. Well, by this point, it's not Spider-Verse, but
we're talking MCU though.
MCU, yes, it's not Black Panther or Captain America 2.
Yeah. Far From Home had the unfortunate. It didn't have to come out after Endgame; it had to come out after Spider-Verse.
Yeah. But at this point, I'm okay with with how the characters have been.
And are you still curious for some of the stuff going forward?
I'm curious. I'm going to keep an eye on it for it. I'm still not sold on Disney Plus because I think I've given them enough of my money. But I'll keep an eye on what's happening.
I'll bet that the show still won't be as essential as movies.
I'm not happy about Black Widow dying, though.
Would you rather her solo movie be her last hurrah?
I mean, I'm sure,
in the present.
I'm sure it will, but. Her dying in Endgame, it just felt
very sudden.
It's sudden.
It also plays with who's going to be her or Hawkeye.
Yeah, and we all know it's not going to be Hawkeye.
I wasn't. No, I was watching. I wasn't sure.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They play with it. They're like 2 fake outs.
They did do a good.
And you look at logistically, it's like he's got a family to go back to, and she doesn't.
That's what pinned me down to it because I was like, they got to give him the family, or else we're not going to feel great about this.
I've seen them.
Yeah,
but they also want to get our emotions.
They do, but. One, we don't know that much about Black Widow's family.
She doesn't.
Where else is she going to go with her character? And I have to be honest. I a lot of people didn't like Hulk and Black Widow.
No, it kind of fell out of nowhere for me.
Yeah, and
a lot of people now ship her and Steve.
I mean, that made more sense.
Yeah, and if Hawkeye wasn't married, I'd ship them.
Yeah, but I have to say, when the Hulk and Black Widow thing happened, I was kind of okay with it, but at the same time, I was like, it kind of feels like they don't know what to do with Black Widow.
Oh,
that's how I felt.
Yeah, it was. It may have been the hesitance to give her a solo flick.
Yeah, and so when they killed her, I felt like, come on,
yet.
You can try, you can do something with her.
And they went, well, Chris, we'll meet you at the middle and give her a prequel.
Okay, I guess you didn't have to kill her though. Like film Twitter,
maybe that was also a case of ScarJo being ready to move on.
Maybe, man, and
let's do this in solo, and I'm done.
And you know what, like. That's totally valid because
she's been doing this for a long time.
A lot of character
and the whole original 6.
10 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And people are when Endgame happened and the original 6 were like, all right, we're done. Well, maybe we'll pop in, but that's really it for us.
Well, half of them are still alive.
Yeah. Well, they were like, we're not going to come back for our own movies.
Oh, no.
I know there are people who are like, that's
Thor will.
Well, Thor will. But I know there are people who are like, that's bullshit. But it's like,
nah, it's all right.
10 years is a long time.
Yeah. But we should probably be wrapping up because we got like a little over an hour left. We haven't gotten to our main topic.
Yes.
But final thoughts on Endgame.
Please see Endgame. It's enjoyable. It's entertaining. I'm sure if you're like a film buff, you might find a couple of weird inconsistencies.
Yes,
but you know what? It's a fun movie, and you're gonna and like with characters doing amazing comic book things.
Yep.
There are funny out of nowhere scenes. And Act 2 kind of drags a little bit, but it is like a great amalgamation of everything these characters and these actors have been through, and you get to see them in their best moments.
Yeah, no, it's also. It can be hard to pull off a satisfying end. Like I'm just looking how like we have Avengers fans in one camp, Game of Thrones fans in the other.
I'm glad we're not doing a Game of Thrones cast.
I'm glad I never watched Game of Thrones.
Good.
Yeah, so it's so props to Russos and all the producers and everybody.
Yeah.
That was a tricky thing to balance. But I'm gonna pause what we have here and save. And I gotta pee.
All right.
I just want everybody to know that.
Mm-hmm.
You participate in the most important Mortal Kombat in history. This tournament, the 10th after 9 Outworld victories, will determine Earthrealm's fate. If you defeat all of your opponents, you will face one final challenge. Me.
So, as per usual tradition, since Chris hadn't been on in quite a while, I was like, Chris, you can pick our main topic. And he threw one out there that I thought would be a very good pick, and for me to kind of dip my toes into one that I've been meaning to for a long time because it's one of the most iconic game franchises out there. But Chris has had a longer experience with it.
Well, yep.
It's starting earlier, I would say. There's a break. We'll talk about it. Mm-hmm. Chris, when do you first remember becoming aware about Mortal Kombat?
I got aware about Mortal Kombat thanks to an arcade system, an arcade cabinet at my barber shop when I was a kid.
Oh my god, that's the coolest barber shop ever.
Yeah, so I mean, they had Virtual Fighter, or they had some fighting game, maybe Street Fighter at the time.
There were a lot.
Virtual Fighter came later, but they definitely had Mortal Kombat, and of course they had the blood option on. Of course, they had Liu Kang. He didn't look like a red bandana, fiery kicks of fire Liu Kang. He looked like Bruce Lee in the first one.
Right, they had the bandana and long hair later.
Yeah, and I thought that was actually pretty cool, and like it looked so
real.
Yeah,
back then
it did. So me and my dad actually kind of bonded over that game.
Oh, your parents weren't. Your dad wasn't against it.
No, he wasn't.
Ah, you were lucky because that's the opposite thing. That's why I got into it so late.
Oh.
This is a series notorious for its violence.
Of course.
Particularly, I look at the newer stuff and I'm like, holy shit. But, this was... So, a little bit, do you know about how the game came about?
No.
So, I Googled it, the first one. So, it was... do you know the name, who the creators are? Not Yawn and Cleared Throat, I'm sorry.
Sorry. I've heard their names before, but please remember.
Ed Boon and John Tobias.
Okay.
Noob Saibot. It's an in-joke because their last names backwards.
Yeah.
It was at Midway, back when they were still around doing arcade games. So the way it originally happened was they were pitched by Universal, whoever owned the film. They were going to do a licensed game based on Universal Soldier, the Van Damme movie. Mm-hmm. They came up with the idea, maybe we can get Van Damme on board, and they had been messing with or interested in the idea of, digitizing, using photographs and incorporating those real-life images into a game. Mm-hmm. And, you can play as a real Van Damme when you're around. That deal fell through, but I guess they had done enough preliminary work or design or technical work. They were like, let's do something original with this. And in fact, that's how they also came up with Johnny Cage. He's a tribute to 90s action stars. Mm-hmm. And that is how the first Mortal Kombat happened. I don't know how they individually came up with every character and the crazy backstory about NetherRealm and Earthrealm and stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I'm guessing, I'm sorry, I didn't have time to do a lot of research, but I'm guessing part of the idea for the violence, the fatalities, was to help it stand out.
Yeah.
They were like, we'll have that and we'll have more realistic looking people. Because back then you compare it, like Street Fighter was like, you know, a cartoon or an anime, and most games with sprites were, and it's like, that's real! This is the future! It's Dragon Slayer all over again!
Yeah, yeah.
And that really helped it catch on, and it was an overnight success pretty much, which led to 3 direct arcade sequels, and a bunch of spin-offs, movies, TV shows, merchandise. Like, it was a juggernaut of the mid-90s. And it never went away, but around the end of the 90s, I feel like it was and I'll just say real quick before we move on, again, I was very aware of it. I was reading magazines and I was seeing it in arcades. My parents were very firm about, you know, stuff that was, you know, the equivalent of an R rating.
Yeah.
Because it's also one of the games that, you know, Congress lost their shit about, and then it was the reason we had the ESRB.
You can't see it, but I'm rolling my eyes right now.
These violent video games, they're responsible for the... Have you seen the distorted videos, Twitter?
Yeah, I have.
They took Trump and they were like...
It's such bullshit.
It's an argument that it's always around.
It's such bullshit.
Did you read about him inviting game representatives? Sure, like, isn't this violent? Isn't this violent? Okay, on that note. But that was Joe Lieberman in the 90s. Yeah. That and Night Trap, the cheesiest game in the world.
Yeah, Night Trap threw people for a loop. And looking at it now, it's harmless.
It's the stupidest shit.
It's harmless bullshit.
And it's kind of the same as Mortal Kombat, because even though it was gory as shit, there was such a sense of humor, tongue-in-cheek, to a lot of it. It was like 90s juvenile.
Yeah,
like,
it's the
silly.
It's the implication of violence, and at the time, we didn't have anything like it.
Yeah.
So, of course, it was like... It was top tier. You kids probably should. Did
you ever hear, apparently, a representative asked Joe Lieberman, well, have you played Night Trap? I don't have to. It's filth. Politicians.
Yeah.
But Mortal Kombat was... I mean, to be fair, it's like... we had not seen a guy rip out a guy's head and spine in that sort of amount of detail in video games before.
We haven't, no.
But... did they really think kids were going to go ripping each other's spines out?
I guess they did. I guess they thought that, like... good Christian values.
Shoot lightning and teleport?
I guess they thought that
witchcraft, that's it.
Yeah, I guess they thought that good Christian values were pertinent to pressing a combination of buttons and making the pixel person do the thing.
See, my parents are Catholic, but it wasn't even that. They were just like, that's a lot of blood and killing. We don't want him thinking that's okay. Yeah. I remember back in the day, the first one they let me play in terms of T rating was Killer Instinct, the Super NES version. But even I remember Mom going, "Oh, just that title. That sounds so horrible."
I'm sorry.
She didn't even know. If only she knew about the Ultra combos.
Yeah.
Ultra. But Mortal Kombat was my most vivid childhood memory of Mortal Kombat 3 was, I mean, Mortal Kombat in general, but it ties to 3. So when I was 8, it was, I think, October or September of 1995, my mom let me buy from the newsstand my first issue of Nintendo Power. I missed out on its early years, like most up till the late SNES era.
Yeah.
And the cover for that, Cleo's meowing. I'll get to her. The cover story was Mortal Kombat 3 with moveless and fatalities and all that. Mm-hmm. And that is what got me familiar with the roster, particularly from Mortal Kombat 3, but there were a lot of holdovers from the first two. Mm-hmm. And that's how I learned, this is Sonya, Johnny Cage wasn't in that one. Here's Liu Kang, this is Raiden, this is Stryker.
This is
Jax,
there are some Stryker fans out there.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
All two of them.
There's some silly character concepts. Like I said, it's very tongue-in-cheek. This is Cabal. This is Sub-Zero without a mask.
Yeah.
This is Smoke. And so that was kind of all I had to go off for a while.
Where there's smoke, there is fire. No, if you played Mortal Kombat 10 or 9, I think it's 9.
I did a while ago though.
Yeah, Smoke says that a lot, and it always made me giggle.
I mainly played the story mode in it, but that's the thing. You were really into the first 3. Mm-hmm. When it was there was a kind of lull starting with when they finally went 3D with Mortal Kombat 4.
Yeah. Which
by all accounts was kind of it didn't go great.
No, it didn't.
Did you play Mortal Kombat 4?
I didn't. I saw screenshots of it and I was like, this looks lame.
It's just not the same without the real people.
And I saw like footage of it and I was like, well, maybe it'll look better in motion. And then I saw that and I was like,
Yeah, it didn't look right.
Yeah, maybe I'll pass.
Now, granted, this wasn't a Bubsy 3D equivalent that killed the series.
No, but it didn't really interest me.
It just went down. It wasn't a phenomenon anymore. They kept doing sequels through like the PS2 generation. Yeah. I think Mortal Kombat 4 is the only one of that generation who was on like PS1, N64, and Dreamcast. And then they did 5 through 7. Then on PS3 they did, I guess 8 was the versus DC Universe, which I also heard was kind of, I remember hearing people say there was a thing, one of DC's rules, hey, no fatalities.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's part of Mortal Kombat.
The point. But it was fun at least.
Okay.
The story mode was pretty.
And
good.
it led to the Injustice game, which is what I've shared my love for. But it was around the time after that they were like, let's do a new Mortal Kombat core game for that PS3 360 generation, and they had the idea, let's kind of reboot it. Mm-hmm. With the concept of this game will retell the events of 1, 2, 3, which we couldn't really before because of time and budget and stuff and technology, with the gimmick that Raiden sends a message from the future to try and alter things. Yeah. It doesn't go well.
No, it doesn't.
But it gave us a very different story going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to 10 and 11 where it's like, we're doing Chime Jumps, we're doing Offspring, we're doing Relatives, and just crazy new characters. Like, can you imagine Farrah Tor in the old games?
Yeah, so...
No, you can't. That'd be crazy.
I mean, no, they will look... Well, I can imagine them, but they would look like, I don't know, Red Ninja number 3, or Green Ninja number 2.
That's something that I also find really funny about the old ones. So much palette swapping going on.
Yeah.
The moves were different, but he was clearly the same guy.
Which is what I liked about the new generations.
Because, yeah, they redesigned a lot of them.
Well, not only did they redesign, but they took some inspiration and some callbacks from the older middle games that you probably didn't play. I personally have heard of Mortal Kombat mythologies or Sub-Zero mythologies.
Well, it's Mortal Kombat mythologies, semicolon Sub-Zero.
Yeah, but I never played it.
Yeah, no, most spin-offs don't seriously don't have a good history with them.
Yeah, but 9, 10, and 11 have some pretty good callbacks to it. Even 11 has some pretty neat callbacks to Shaolin monks. Which I remember was pretty cool.
When I played 10, this character, I think it's called Tanya or something, popped up. And I was like, who the fuck is Tanya?
Yeah.
She's just in mythologies.
She's just in mythologies.
And of course, they're still not going to make her a playable character. They're like, no.
Tanya.
And Shinnok was was the final boss of mythologies as well. And now he was the villain in 10.
He was. Tanya. Who was Tanya again?
She's got like a
short hair?
Short black and white hair.
She was in 10 as a downloadable character.
Oh, she was DLC?
Yes.
Okay, I only got the slasher characters. Mm-hmm. They've gotten really crazy with some of the...
They have, and it's cool as shit!
Here's Kratos and Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, Freddy
Here's
Krueger.
Jason, Leatherface, Alien and Predator.
Alien Predator were cool.
And it bled over into Injustice 2. Here's the Ninja Turtles and Hellboy.
Oh, yeah.
And Mortal Kombat characters.
Yeah!
Isn't Joker going to be DLC for someone from Injustice is going to be in it? There's going to be a DC fighter.
So I don't know about that, but okay. So the newest Mortal Kombat game, Mortal Kombat 11,
yes, which I have owned for like a month. I haven't played yet, so you'll have to.
Do you want me to spoil something?
You can spoil whatever you want.
So one of the DLCs is Shang Tsung.
That I did read about this.
Yeah. He is the old character from the Mortal Kombat movie. Yes, is the actor. It is so cool.
Yeah.
9, 10, and 11 do amazing jobs of calling back to the old films.
Absolutely.
Johnny Cage. There's a much bigger focus on Johnny Cage, the character.
Yeah. The final hero of 10 is his daughter.
Yeah. Even 9 does a pretty good job of setting up Johnny Cage.
Oh, it's the same as the first movie. He's a jokester.
Yeah, but then they build his character from there. He becomes really lovable. Like,
yes, in 10 he's less of a airhead. He's a veteran.
Yeah, and he's now like I don't want to say force to be reckoned with, but the player can imprint themselves on Johnny in the game.
And I also feel like 10 was I want to go back to chronological stuff, but I will say I feel like I played through 9 and 10 stories. I'm going to play 11. And for this episode, I finally played the original 3, and we'll go back to this. I feel like 10 marked a point where I feel like Doing Injustice might have had an impact on the writing crew. It throws a lot of the cheesiness away in comparison. Comparison. 9 was very goofy.
There's still some goofiness in 10. Of course.
No, you don't want. I don't want it stripped out.
No.
That's part of Mortal Kombat.
But it is taken.
I did not take the 9's plot seriously until the end when they killed 2/3 of the cast.
Yeah, they do. 9. 9 killing 2/3 of the cast didn't really make me very happy.
Yeah.
But 10, however, does a pretty good job of undoing some of that, and it balances it out.
Or at least keeping them playable.
Keeping them playable.
Wraiths or whatever they were.
Well, as an example, Jax.
Yeah, they brought him back.
Yeah, they brought him back. Jax has a wonderful storyline.
Yeah, he's getting
10.
back. He's a farmer.
Yeah.
He's got metal arms, and his daughter. I want to talk to you about Jax. I remember even at 8, playable black protagonists
weren't that much of a
There's still
thing.
not that much of a thing, but Jax was the first time I remember seeing it. I remember he was an 8-year-old. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then doing crazy things where, because I didn't know in 2 he had normal arms.
Yeah. So they talk about it a lot. And you get to relive it in 9 and 10. Noob Cybot shows up and he's like, I took away her arms and shit. And Jax
Jax don't got time for that.
Jax
Beat the shit out of him.
He's like, that's all in the past.
I love that his farmer, it's a skin.
It's a skin.
Farmer Jax.
So, I love that part of 10 so much because growing up, Jax was the gotcha guy, and he just punched a dude in the face and threw off. He had a great personality in the movies, but he wasn't my favorite.
I was going to I'm sure some representation made you happy, but early on he was more of a jokey brute than like Sony was the cooler of the two.
Yeah, I my favorites were actually Scorpion, Liu Kang, and Reptile. Those are my favorite.
Okay,
those are my favorite Mortal Kombat.
So you got to think
characters.
for the ninjas and straight up martial arts.
Yes. So what I've noticed in the newer Mortal Kombat series, newer Mortal Kombat games, is that they've taken steps to, at least in 9 and 10, to kind of move away from Liu Kang. Because Liu Kang's the protagonist.
Like that original trilogy in the movies, yes.
He is legit the main guy.
Right.
But there wasn't really a lot of focus on his character development. We don't know. We could see the things that he does, and
his motivation in the first movie, but as a character, still not much.
He's not as fun.
Right.
As, say there's not as much room to build with say Johnny.
Unless they made it take a left hard turn with them.
Yeah,
which they did.
Yeah. In 10
and 11,
or actually, let me take that back. In 9 and 10, they fucking reduce his character to a zombie. Essentially,
they kill him.
Yeah, and Shinnok brings him back, and he's an immortal zombie, which fucking sucks. But turns out that Liu Kang does harbor some inner resentment to Raiden.
Yeah,
and
he has a line. He's like, "You let me die," and Raiden says, "It was a mistake that I regret every day."
Yeah, and Jax goes up against Liu Kang in 10, and
is trying to tell him, "Don't do this."
Jax is like, "There's,"
because Jax was in that position, but they freed him.
So Jax was a zombie. He gets freed and he gets turned back to normal.
Yeah.
There's a point in 10 where there's a lot of quick time event. You have to press the button at the right time.
Same with Injustice and during the cutscenes.
A lot of people hated that. I'm actually a fan of quick time events.
I am too.
Yeah, and I thought I think in moderation, and I think if done correctly, just like anything else in games, it can be done well.
There's typically only one per chapter.
Yeah.
Because I want to give 9 a ton of credit. That template for NetherRealm's single player story modes, and it's bled over. Now Capcom does stuff like that. 9 was the first one to really do that, where you get a bunch of cutscenes and it would give you would change focus to a certain character for each chapter.
11 does that.
9, 10, 11. That's what I'm saying. 9 started.
Okay.
Because I don't know what the story was like in the PS2. I'm guessing it was still arcade mode.
In 10, when you go up against Liu Kang as Jax, there's this cool cutscene where
they have conversations.
Yeah, well, Liu Kang is just chucking fireballs at Jax, and Jax is just smacking them away.
Yep.
And each time it's a quick time event, but Jax is Liu Kang's like, Raiden killed me and turned me into this, and Jax is like, that's not true, and smacks that shit away. And it's cool as shit. I was like, this is. It made me a believer in Jax seeing
more than
that
before.
scene.
Yeah, because they had more of an arc to him.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
So these original 3, so I finally played them for the first time because I bought them on PS3 a while back, downloadable. Still pretty good.
Yeah.
I can kind of see, I think there's probably more depth to Street Fighter, and the biggest reason for that is, particularly with the first one, there are a lot of shared moves. Like that uppercut and rapid punch, everybody does that.
Yeah.
With most tournament fighters, those things handled differently per character. But this is still about, you still get distinct special moves and fatalities. And, you might pick one based on their design, or you might just like how they move. From what I played, I was pretty attached to Sony in the first one. Second I played a little bit. I didn't get to play 3. But I could also see, I think a lot of people will tell you, do you have a favorite of the original 3, first off?
Mortal Kombat 3 Trilogy was my favorite game.
So kind of like the definitive version of 3?
Yes.
Okay. Because a lot of people say if you go off the base versions of all 3, a lot of people recommend 2.
Okay.
And that's a very common thing with game trilogies because oftentimes you'll have one that's a good proof of concept. You'll have a second that takes such huge strides and it's like a watermark. And then the third, they end up with like more incremental improvements, so it's not as big a splash, even if it's good. Yeah. And I get the sense that's what happened with 2 and 3, because jumping into 2 right after 1, I was like, oh, the graphics got a huge upgrade, and there's so many more characters and so many more moves. Like they beefed everything up, and then 3 was like kind of comparable. But,
Mortal Kombat 3 had a few characters. It really didn't have a very impressive cast.
It also made some like there was no Scorpion and Johnny Cage in that.
No, then Mortal Kombat Ultimate happened, and then they brought in a few more classics.
Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
Ultimate first happened.
Okay.
And then Trilogy brought in everybody.
Yeah, that was the N64 PS1.
That was a huge cast.
That's awesome.
And I was like, oh my god, they have all the people in here. So I misspoke earlier. I said that Scorpion, Liu Kang, and Reptile are my favorites.
Oh.
I take it back. Scorpion, Liu Kang, and Mileena were my favorites.
Oh, you weren't joking earlier.
I was not, because Mileena is fast as shit. She does she has a cute little sonic spin dash and rolls under dudes and shit, and she has great long range attacks like Scorpion does.
Does she have the fans, or is that Katana, or both?
Katana's the one with the fans.
Okay, they're also they and Jade were palette swapped Ninja Girl back in the day.
Now, what I like most about 9, 10, and 11 is that they, like we mentioned, they flesh out characters a lot more.
They have the technology and the budget to do so now.
Yes, they do. And it's amazing how far they go with 11. Because apparently, like, there are characters who have really not seen, like, their chance in the spotlight very often.
Right.
Katana's really more like, she's Liu Kang's girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's kind of the princess, but she's Liu Kang's girlfriend.
Playing 9, she and Mileena are kind of a Gamora, Nebula, Thanos situation.
They are.
They were forcibly adopted by Shao Kahn, and she wanted to escape.
Yeah. They go a little beyond that in 10. And Mileena is a bit more of like, some rogue assassin trying to get,
Kotal Khan.
Well, yeah, she's trying to get Kotal Khan and trying to get, like, legitimacy for the throne, which is cool as shit, because neither her or Katana have really had that.
Yeah.
And, 10 introduces one of my other favorite characters. It's a newbie named, oh no, I forgot her name.
Oh, she's great.
The bug lady.
D'Vorah.
I love D'Vorah so much.
She's got a very weird. They do a very distinct effect to her voice.
Yes.
I don't know how to describe it. It's creepy.
It's the way that she speaks.
This
one will go that way.
Waspinator.
Waspinator. It is Waspinator. That's awesome. I like D'Vorah because she has her design is really cool.
Yeah.
And all the designs, like, even the new characters, you can see, like, just how much time and effort they put into everyone.
Except for Aaron Black, because I'm like, that's McCree.
That's
John Marston. That's every Western movie.
That's a Clint Eastwood. No,
with a Bane mask.
Yeah. In 11, they take unfortunately they kill Mileena in 10.
D'Vorah kills her.
Yeah.
With a kiss of death.
I didn't know how I feel about that.
I'm sure there's some people like Danny from Drinking Drums. I don't care who you are, that's hot.
Of course.
My dream is for a lady with a Fright Night vampire mouth get kissed by a bug lady and then bugs eat her face.
Yeah. So there's a kink for that.
Don't Google it.
I won't. Don't Google anything, kids.
That's the moral of this podcast. Don't Google anything. The less you know.
In Mortal Kombat 11, remember like that thing? Remember when I said that Katana is more treated like Liu Kang's girlfriend?
Yes.
It's more of a princess.
Yeah.
In 11, she gets a chance to fight Shao Kahn for legitimacy of the throne.
Yeah, because 11 brings in time travel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she comes back, not as a zombie, of course, but she comes back as her younger self, and she actually looks like a fucking person, and not like
a supermodel.
Yeah, not like a weird. Yeah,
that's one thing I'll say is the female clothing has gotten less ridiculous over time.
Yeah.
The detriment, I'm not going to be sleazy. I remember in 10, because a lot of it focuses on the offspring. You've got Cassie Cage, Jackie Briggs, and I can't remember the archer and then the archersman. And I remember thinking, like, it's cool they're not all tits out, especially when you look at like Sonya's vest in 9, which is so silly. But I also remember thinking, though the costume they came up with those two, it's really boring. It almost looks like standard military garb with like the slap of glowy bracelet on. In 11, they've given them more kind of armor approach, and I'm like, that's more personality.
It's also more, I hate to say it, more realistic.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care who you are. I like there's
that's hot.
Yeah, I don't care who you are. That's hot. No, that's
look at Robotnik. He's like, yeah.
They're in 9, like all the girl characters are basically like the same boob ninja. I'm not
if Sonya dressed like that, she would be discharged.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That shit ain't hot. Like you go to Pornhub for better. Do better. There's a
Google it.
Google that. if you're above age. I don't care what you do, but Sonya Blade with a badge on her titty, just go to Pornhub. Is that what you want?
Okay. Type in titty badge. Whoa, there's more of this than I thought.
Right? The designs for a lot of the girl characters are not great in 9.
No.
In 10 and 11, they're a lot more thought out.
They are a lot more practical.
Yeah. Practical as in, would a military soldier really wear that with her tits out?
I remember the nice thing I thought about Sonya, especially because she's older in that, she's got a pretty reasonable outfit. The one cool flair they had, she's got that one long braid.
Yeah.
They still have some flair to them.
Yeah.
But it's not just,
In the military, you wouldn't wear a braid.
Yes, exactly.
But they kept it in there because it's
and they gave Johnny Cage a shirt.
Yeah.
And dust.
Yeah. And you know what? In certain scenes, you can still kind of make out his Johnny tattoo, so you still see that he's still underlying an asshole.
Yeah. And Cassie Cage still has tight clothes on. But,
which is still you can still see her tits, but at the same time, it's still functional as a uniform. Yeah. It's kind of the best.
Jackie is that's just like a regular Marine.
Yeah.
She was actually in my main in 10, so I'm curious to try her in 11.
You get the evolution of character design in 9, 10, and 11 shows how much care goes into actually practicing the craft instead of just leaning on old. This is the 90s.
That's notions. What I mean. 9 was very much still felt written and presented like it was from that era.
Yeah.
And 10 it was we put some real maturity into Injustice and it paid off great. Let's sneak some of that in.
Yeah.
We're not going to get rid of all this. It's still very over the top with the character, with the paranormal creatures and their abilities, especially the fatalities. 10 has my favorite fatality I've ever seen, where Cassie rips her jaw off and then takes a selfie.
That is a cool one.
And apparently, one of the comments in the profiles there is the toasty guy.
Mm-hmm.
Toasty.
That's always going to be.
We need to go back to the beginning a little bit because I feel like we've just been jumping. So, what are some? Did you mainly play at arcades? The originals.
The originals I mainly played in arcades until I got a Sega Genesis.
Okay,
and then
so you got the version of Mortal Kombat 1 that kept the blood.
Yes, I did.
That was. Do you remember what a huge deal that was back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
That was for those of you who were around when the Super NES and Genesis were at each other's throats back in the day. You think Microsoft and Sony are like no. They were insulting each other in their advertising. They were being aggressive. It was really, for a while, it was unclear who was going to come out on top. And one of the things that really turned the tide in Sega's favor for a little bit, when Mortal Kombat 1 got ported, Nintendo used to be very restrictive on what was allowed in their games.
Yes, they were.
Like if you look up Castlevania, they were like, you can't have crosses on the tombstones. You can't have signs of Christianity. And so for this, it was like, if you're going to put Mortal Kombat 1, you can't have the blood spatters, and either when they get hit with fatality, it's like, we'll add a code and make it like gray goo, so sweat or other stuff is coming out when they get hurt. But Genesis was like, fuck that, you can put a code and get all the blood.
Yeah.
And the Genesis version
outsold.
It demolished Super NES version.
Yes.
And that's what Sega put, we got uncensored for Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. And that was huge.
Because that was part of the appeal.
Now, I had a father who, I don't want to say didn't give a shit.
Well, he played the originals with you.
He sat down and we were playing the games against each other.
Maybe that's part of it. He was like, if Chris going to play, did he let you play it by yourself sometime? After that?
He did let me play it by myself, but I used to look forward to times when I could play Mortal Kombat with my dad and beat the shit out of him.
Man, that's something I'll never be able to do.
It was legit fun.
Yeah.
Now it helped that I actually had a parent who was open-minded enough to look at this product out in the world and say, my child might get exposed to this. Let us get exposed to it together, and I can be a parent.
I think my parents didn't want to take any chances.
Yeah, and which is fine.
Yeah, not slamming my parents. They were good.
Yeah, but at the
they started letting me rent GTA 3 when I was 14, and then they were like, just go nuts.
But these days, having leadership and politicians say that video games are things that are ruining the world.
Not really.
It's bullshit.
Not really.
It's pure 100% bullshit.
Yes.
If you're a parent and you have kids, make the decision whether or not that if it's okay for them to have these kinds of games.
Yeah. Or media in general.
Or if
base it on your own kids. You've said this in the past. We talked about scary stuff in movies. Every child is different.
Get
to know your kid.
Yeah.
How they respond to these things.
Use your best judgment. My dad used his, and I turned out fine. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. But it's still one of those cases where you don't want to overplay your hand.
one way or the other.
Yeah, you don't want to be like, oh, my kid is okay with Mortal Kombat. Let's show him my kid what a vagina looks like with some Playboy magazines. You don't want to go too far out. You don't want to go too far out.
I've mentioned this podcast called Hey Do You Remember, which is a great look at nostalgic movies.
Yeah.
For Halloween, they reviewed Ernest Scared Stupid. I promise this is related to things. And he told a story about making a haunted house at a weird neighbor's house.
Yeah.
And one point he walked into the room where the dad had a Playboy magazine on the table.
Uh-huh.
And instead of getting rid of it, he looked at it and was like, "Hey, kid, you know what a pussy is?"
Oh no!
He didn't visit that house again.
Good. Not everything is.
See, that was the other extreme.
Not everything is on the same level. So let's rein it back.
But so the Mortal Kombat games. So I also want to ask, besides just the blood splatter, one of the most trademark things about the games isn't just the characters, it's the fatalities and and expanding finishing moves in general.
Yeah.
Particularly in the old games where they the animalities, the babalities, and my favorite,
the friendships,
which were, I looked it up, it was just thumbing their nose at people like, this is so fun. And it was like, okay, then we're just going to be as goofy as possible with some of these.
Let's give Cyrax a birthday present.
Let's have Jax jump rope.
That's what you do when you're playing the arcade with your parents.
My favorite one that was so understated, it's Kano, who's like such a horrible, shitty piece of speech. He's a villain.
Yeah.
And all he does is, he doesn't do anything to the other characters fighting. He just blows some gum, blows a bubble, it just blows on his face, and he just sits there with the gum on his face.
He doesn't do anything with it, like, no, that's the show.
And then on the other hand, you got Babality, who's just so fucking silly.
Yeah.
Which I know in 9, they made it like each baby would actually do something different.
Yeah, I do like that.
Like Shao Kahn walks up and says like a chipmunk voice, "You suck!" And Animalities, which was violent, but awesome, turned to a T-Rex or a dragon. Less awesome in movie form.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the movies?
No.
A little bit.
Mortal Kombat 1 was great.
Yeah, people, that is, I have heard for years, people say that is, if you're a fan of the games, that's like the best video game movie out there.
Yeah.
And maybe the thing is, I saw it for the first time like a year or two ago, kind of detached from the game, and I'm like, this isn't that good. But hey, turnabout is fair play. I'm that guy who loves to watch Super Mario Brothers. I'm like, that is the worst movie.
That is a bad movie.
That is the worst movie. Like, the original Mortal Kombat is kind of like, nowadays, it's like the equivalent of like a Sci-Fi Channel movie. Super Mario Brothers is shit. It's just regular 90s shit. But I think part of it is, you get a sense that the people making it actually did want to represent the material that it was coming from.
It stayed true to the source material.
Yeah, that's
to some degree.
More than most game adaptations. That's the thing.
Yes.
Like, obviously, they couldn't include every character, especially because it was the same year 3 came out. They kept it limited to mostly the first game.
Yeah.
And like, they didn't, Shao Kahn's teeth at the end, but you don't get like none of the cyborg ninjas, none of the Melina, a lot of Rocko, a lot of the others. Mm-hmm. And so if you liked primarily Liu Kang, Johnny, Sonya, Raiden, yeah, absolutely, and later on Katana. It was like, if you like those, here's a whole movie that's about them, and it was more. There was some that got shortchanged, like the ninjas, where it was just like you don't get any of the rivalry between Scorpion and Sub-Zero. It's just they're these mute slaves.
Yeah, which sucks, but at the same time, it was like,
but they're there.
It worked,
and the costumes, right?
Yeah.
Goro looked pretty cool, and stuff like that. It's very silly.
It's
like,
very silly.
First time I watched it, it opens with the flashbacks of Liu Kang's brother being killed, and I was laughing at the faces they pull. It's so over the top. Like, pointing at the screen.
You will be next.
No! or a lot of people have complained about the portrayal of Ryan, not just because he's meant to be Asian in the games, apparently, but it's that weird voice in the laugh.
Christopher Lambert is not playing Raiden. He's playing Christopher Lambert.
He did great.
Or he's trying his best to play Raiden.
A lot of people said it's like Tommy Wiseau playing Wade. And like, oh, I'm so happy for you.
I actually kind of like his performance.
It's fun. It's funny.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It gives a different side to Raiden, which may or may not be Raiden, but I was okay with it.
I mean, given at that point, they didn't have as many cutscenes or as much lore to go off of, so it's kind of like, interpret it as how you will. Then Annihilation happened.
Yeah.
And nobody was happy anymore.
Christopher Lambert wasn't in that one.
Almost nobody was. They got back Liu Kang, they got back Katana.
Johnny's dead.
So, okay, here's the thing. This is kind of serendipitous. I opened my YouTube feed this morning, and Matt McMuscles, Super Best Friends? Mm-hmm. Do you subscribe to his solo channel?
I've heard of him.
Have you seen What Happened?
What Happened?
It's his documentary series to look at, like, infamous flops in the gaming industry. And today, he didn't do a movie. He didn't do a game. He did Annihilation. And there's a lot of reasons why No, I'm like, I think if you watch it, it's pretty clear. One of the reasons like, fundamental reasons is like just a misguided idea where it's like, we're going to throw everyone in there. Fuck the plot. Here's everybody just popping up for a fight scene or a couple lines.
Shiva was there for 2 lines and died.
Yes. Sindel has the most infamous, like that clip went viral where she was, Mother, you're alive. Too bad you will die. The ending acting was terrible. Like, I watched a scene where it's Shao Kahn just chilling with a bunch of other villains. It felt like Power Rangers. Like all these dubbed voices and silly effects.
Yeah, it was a Power Rangers movie.
That scene in particular, it was when, to be fair, I think I've said when I'm watching like the last season of Mighty Morphin where it's just Rita's family hanging out with Zed, I'm like, I would actually watch a sitcom where it's all these guys in rubber suits and one lady in a crazy suit just fucking with each other.
And you got like the Full House like names show up underneath them.
Freeze frame on like Goldar growling.
Scorpion.
Oh, Scorpion.
They'll turn smiling to the camera and not like, hey, how are you? I didn't see you. Mortal Kombat, the sitcom. And there are also the TV shows. I've never seen the live action one. I've heard that's bad. And there was Defenders of the Realm.
Yeah.
Not good.
No.
Very silly animation.
Yeah. It's combat time!
Why did they make Sonya so stupid?
I don't know.
I think the only reason is because they didn't have Johnny Cage.
Whose video was that?
It was Matt McMuscles who did the Stupidity compilations.
Okay.
Yeah, he did that. The Street Fighter cartoon, amazing. And I know I've seen reviews of I think ProJair did one. Like, Jax felt really token in his dialogue on that. Like, dialogue, they show be ugly.
Yeah. That's how black people talk, all of them.
Yeah, go play Mortal Kombat 10.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why he wasn't your favorite. You're like, hey, they got a black guy, but...
It wasn't that difficult to portray him correctly, but...
at least in the games, he didn't have to talk.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was that. But I wrote down what just kind of happened. So here's the thing. If you think about Johnny Cage, like why they come in the first 5 minutes, that the actor from the first movie, this is also why he didn't come back. He had a lot more work than the others. Like, he's one of the better actors because he's done a lot of, continued to do other TV and movie work.
Yeah.
Because of that, his rates had gone up.
Oh.
And they were kind of on a scrim. Apparently, they had a bigger budget than the first. They spent most of it because they wanted to shoot on location around the world. Yeah.
On location around?
Yeah.
On location,
yeah.
Earth.
around the world.
Well, at least they didn't do, like, on location, outer realm.
They wouldn't have come back from that.
No.
Then we wouldn't have a movie, so it'd be worth it. But, so they look like we can't give you a cost, but so they wrote the script and they were like, we'll come off the first 5 minutes so we don't have to have them on for so long. And that actor looked and went, yeah, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
And that was another thing that kind of killed her because they recast almost everybody else, like I was saying.
Yeah.
And, here's another thing. The producer, the guy who kind of got this going, both the movies and stuff like the shows and the live show I've never seen, is a guy named Lawrence Kasanoff. Does that sound familiar?
It does sound familiar.
A few years ago, his production company that he stopped to make these movies put out another movie that was a passion project of his called Food Fight.
Oh, no.
The realization is dawning on Chris's face.
Oh, no.
The guy who gave us Food Fight produced the Mortal Kombat spin-off medias.
Oh, God.
Yep. And so, obviously, he made some bad decisions. There is one that he claims, and if this is true, I won't blame him, because another guy that's infamous is like some of the worst CG in any Hollywood movie. Like when you see like the monsters and the animalities, it looks like stop motion, it's insane. And he said, here's the thing, they were doing test screens with a rough cut. They were like, all right, we'll do our first pass on those effects, and we're obviously going to polish them in post. And apparently, the test screening audiences loved the movie as is, and New Line was like, fuck that, we're releasing this now. He's like, we got more effects. No!
Oh, no!
Granted, this could look like Avatar, and it would still be Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing I would say, okay, don't blame Lawrence Kasanoff, he did not want that to happen. Food Fight was all him. Wrote, direct, produced, and played the voice of the shit rat.
Thanks, test audiences. Thank you.
Yeah, well, that's one part of it. It would not.
I know. But I'm just saying, like.
And what we're talking about, the other worst part of Mortal Kombat media, like the spin-off games, they didn't have much luck when they tried to venture into other realms. Even though it certainly sounds ambitious. As one of them, the first one was, which you've played a little bit, Mortal Kombat Mythologies, Sub-Zero. Let's make it a brawler. Let's make it like any kind of action RPG. Let's have live action cutscenes. Amazing. But I've seen a bunch of reviews on that, and it looks like the most frustrating thing in the world.
It does.
Especially because you don't start out with his famous moves. You got to level up and unlock them, all of them. It's like, no, give us the Ice Blast at least. It's Sub-Zero.
Yeah, we got to start.
That's like the sequel to be Scorpion. You got to go halfway to get the spear.
No, you got to. In Scorpion's game, you have to watch his family die, and then get sent to hell. Actually, that sounds like a cool game. Get sent to hell in the first level.
But what about playing it? They would still fuck that up. And I will say another thing, because like I said, the new ones haven't lost the cheesiness entirely. There's a scene in 10 where he takes Quan Chi to kill him, and they got a new actor for Scorpion, but the moment he spears him, get over here!
That part was cheesy, but it was so fucking cool.
It was. Apparently that's either Bruno Tobias doing Scorpion's old voice.
Yeah. But I'll still like, man, that scene happening. There are so many good parts in 10.
Yeah, finally getting his revenge on Quan Chi.
Yeah.
And I will say, it kind of seems like it's been tough for them to find a worthy successor to Shao Kahn. Like, that dude is so iconic, and it's like, people were mixed on Shinnok and Quan Chi. Now, who's the new one? Kronika or whatever the time?
Kronika was
I looked at her design, I'm like, that's not main villain material.
It's not intimidating. Kronika was lame.
It's cool they have a female lead, but they do better.
Yeah, Kronika didn't look like a villain.
No.
Kronika looked like the person who guides the character.
She barely looks like a fighter.
Yeah, and she really wasn't. You fight her, and she's like...
She's not playable.
She throws a T-Rex at you.
Okay, you're selling me on her.
Okay. It's not a very good T-Rex. She kind of just sicks them on you, and that's it.
And you punch them away.
Yeah. Well, you don't punch
them
away.
Go away, T-Rex!
You don't punch them away. It's like a surprise, and then you...
Surprise attack.
Well, yeah, and then you get back up, and then you punch...
Surprise sweep kick! Surprise sweep kick, Miles!
She's not hard.
Okay.
Yeah, Kronika was a bit of a disappointment. 11 of the 3 new games, I'd say 10 is the best. 11
Okay, I know 11 it fell victim to microtransaction problems. What would you say about it other than that are the highs and lows of 11?
The highest and the highs of 11 have to do with the character. What 10 did well, and 11 kind of capitalized on it.
Okay.
Which was the character designs and the character improvements.
Nice.
There are people who are like, oh no, they're making the characters woke. I'm like, but the designs look better. Like, you really can't discount the fact that Sonya Blade in 10 doesn't look like a fucking mannequin with boobs from 9.
I remember listening to a review that also said because of the graphics of 9, her tits in it looked like Lego studs.
They did. They absolutely did. They expanded on. They brought some really cool looking characters. I forget his name. There's this huge black dude who can't die. And
I know Shinnok can't die.
No, Shinnok can't die.
Because when he decapitates him, and he's just a gurgling head.
Yeah, and he's one of Kronika's like henchmen.
Yeah,
so he can control time, but only his internal time. So,
isn't that a move in battle?
I think so.
Yeah, I know there was a time character who there was some way of using it to rewind or something, but they made it so it's not a game breaker.
Yeah, I think he's really slow, but he's really strong.
Right.
I didn't like 11 as much as I wanted to because a lot of it felt like that I'm playing the game, but in order for me to have the most of the game, I have to have DLC.
Pay extra,
and I don't want to pay extra for this game, but it still feels like the same game I just played, and the character interactions aren't great, and I have it on the Switch. The Switch does not play 11 that well.
I saw a Stop Skeletons from Fighting just did a video about bad Mortal Kombat handheld ports. Switch looked rough.
Yeah, it's really rough. It's so rough, in fact, that I took 11 back.
And did you get it for PS4, or did you just that redone?
I beat it on the Switch, so I was kind of done.
I'll bet a lot of it does run at 60.
Yeah, which is great, but there's some hard pixelation on the characters.
I know people were saying the crypt, so much fog.
Yeah, there's a lot of fog, but there are characters that I really enjoyed in 11. Like I mentioned, Katana, fighting Shao Kahn.
Yeah, more of a character.
She beats Shao Kahn and becomes the ruler of Outworld.
Cool.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
There's this other character, Frost.
She's like Sub-Zero, right?
Yeah,
she pops up for a second in 10.
Yeah, she becomes a cyborg, and
I like the cyborgs.
You remember Skullgirls, right?
Yes.
There's a character that can take off her head, throw it and shit. Misfortune.
Yes.
She becomes Misfortune essentially.
She becomes a cat girl.
Yeah, no. She takes off her head and uses it as a projectile in many other ways.
I love that.
It's fucking amazing. It's a fun idea. The problem is that the story doesn't really do any of the characters
justice.
Yeah, and the character designs all look great, and the improvements aesthetically are amazing.
Okay, what about gameplay?
Gameplay, sort of the same. Like you have different variations of battle styles, but you kind of had that in 10 too. So it's kind of samey.
So is it kind of like what I was talking about with between 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3?
Yeah.
It feels more incremental.
Yes, okay. It feels like you're still playing the same game, but with new cutscenes.
Even without the microtransaction, the DLC issue.
Yeah, and in a world where YouTube can basically show you the the game's movies,
yes,
you don't really have to buy the game. You can just watch what happens to the characters. Which I'm kind of like, just sell the movies for $20, and you'll still reap profits. And I know people will still pay for the movies, but you can, if they want to play the game, they can still pay the game.
Okay, I know what I'm getting you for your birthday. I'm going to get you all the Kingdom Hearts 3 cutscenes.
Don't do that. I don't want to die. No.
Cause of death, Sora, Donald, Goofy.
There's a point when... all right, so let me put it this way. There are cool story points, and there are not so cool story points in 11. There are points when Liu Kang and Raiden hash out their beef.
Yeah.
And combine.
What?
They combine.
Okay.
They merge together and become the Fire God Liu Kang.
Shit.
Liu Kang becomes an immortal fire god and has lightning powers.
Shit.
And it's rad. It sounds
awesome. Rad.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Kind of sounds like them making up to Liu Kang fans out of 10.
Yeah, it's a good progression. Like, him and Raiden, like, hash things out.
Yeah.
And Raiden steps aside and is like, you're now immortal. You are now the watcher of...
you got this.
You're the guardian of Earth. I am now mortal, and I will serve as your guide.
Oh.
And that's rad!
Well, that ties into Raiden, because he's the biggest supporter of humanity of all these crazy creatures.
It's so cool.
Side note, do you know who the voice of Raiden is in the new games?
Who is?
I brought him up in the past because I love him. Richard Epcar. Bateau, Ghost of the Shell. A replacement for Billy Zane as Ansem.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And Bobobo-bo.
Of course.
My favorite.
Yeah.
He will always be Bobobo.
I have to predict that whenever you bring up a voice actor, that it's going to tie into Bobobo somehow.
Anime it will. I can't guarantee everything else. All things lead back. Side note, I started an out-of-context Bobobo account.
Oh, cool.
Because that's been a thing. It's like out-of-context Angry Beavers, out-of-context Etcher's Lab.
Okay.
And as people pointed out, all of Bobobo is without context, so it's perfect.
Nice. So you have high moments with Liu Kang becoming a fire god.
Yep.
Then you have low moments where all the growth that Scorpion does and goes through in 10.
Done.
Because there's time travel, Scorpion...
Oh, it gets undone.
Current Scorpion meets new Scorpion. Current Scorpion meets past Scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, past Scorpion is like, I'm angry all the time. Sub-Zero, come over here. And new Scorpion's like, no, you can't do that. We're good now. Me and Sub-Zero are good. Look, I look like a person now.
Yep.
Like, he actually looks like an actor. I forget his name. Something.
He looks like an actor in 10 too. He had the mask off.
Yeah, but he looks like in 11. He looks like what's his name? Watanabe. He was in he's in a new Godzilla film.
Ken Watanabe.
Yes.
Also in Detective Pikachu.
He looks like Ken Watanabe.
Okay.
I hope that's not racist, but that's the closest thing that I have to him right now, and I'm going to stick
It
with
would be
it.
racist if you said he looks like every Asian actor I've ever seen.
I am so sorry. That's not what I'm getting at. But what I'm getting at is that he looks like a famous actor.
I'm the guy who in Endgame confused Ken Jeong for Pro ZD.
Okay, I'm so sorry, guys. Anyway. New Scorpion talks to old Scorpion, and then new Scorpion gets killed. And
we just got old Scorpion?
Yeah. So it's just old Scorpion. He's like, oh no, what do I do with these feelings? I'm still a ghost now.
So yeah, some steps back in storytelling. I think we actually got to get to our last portion because
my parking meter's going to
run out pretty soon. I will say, but the last thing I will say, because we talked about it briefly, they've been throwing about rebooting the movies for years and going to short stuff online. It is apparently going to start filming this fall. Mm-hmm. It will be produced by James Wan.
Ooh.
Conjuring, Aquaman, Fast and Furious.
Excuse me, I almost burped in your face.
Burp joy!
Yeah. I'm sorry. I love The Conjuring. Cool. Yeah.
Apparently Lawrence Kasanoff will still be executive producing.
All right.
Hopefully they will be like batting him away with the newspaper at all points. No, Lawrence, no.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the casting has been announced. I didn't hear about two of them, but recognize two of them. The new Liu Kang, Ludi Lin, was Zack in the Power Rangers movie reboot.
What?
Which I know you didn't see, but we talked about it.
Well, I did see it eventually.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was fun. That's cool.
I like that guy.
Yeah.
So
what?
He's the new Liu Kang.
What?
He just tweeted about trying to live up to the old one, Robin Shao, because he has a lot of respect for him.
So he's the new. He's the Zack from the new movie that came out.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know what else he's been in, but yeah, that's why I first started him, and he is going to be the new movie.
And it ties in what you said before, how Mortal Kombat Annihilation was a Power Rangers movie.
It all comes full circle.
Yeah.
And Jason David Frank as
Frank.
Shao Kahn.
Sweet. Oh no, Tommy, don't.
I mean, he'd be better than the guy in Annihilation. It is glorious.
But, I mean, that dude has got.
Yes, he's been better in other stuff.
He's been better in other stuff. Yeah,
not as sorry. But yeah, so quick kind of wrap up. I told you I wanted to say really quick. because. Well, let's do it different way, because both, obviously we had a big break between episodes, and I'm just gonna you already know this, I'm just saying to people now, no, the podcast is not ending, first off. That is always the last thing I intended. This is going to mark the start of hiatus through at least the rest of this year. Mm-hmm. I might try and do something for Christmas that we did 2 years ago, but no promises. We'll see where we both are. Yeah. But we've both got I get all the guest stars too. That makes me sound like Chris is expendable. He's not. He's part of the show's blood and soul.
Yay.
And it should be heart and soul. Blood and soul sounds like Mortal Kombat.
Yes,
but, so I guess it fits. But I've just been, I've been crazy busy. I'm doing improv. I'm trying to work full time. I'm trying to do streaming and voice acting in addition to cartoons and trying to get professional stuff going.
It's a lot.
It's tough, even if I can get other people. And I just love how we started out, like, we'll do it every week. We'll do it every week, every other week. We'll do it every month. And I think it's like our second 2 or 3 month gap.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
it's
I don't want to keep trying to say we're going to do this every month and it doesn't happen.
And it's fine if we
and
take a
looking back, we have a really good back library of episodes. We've been getting a lot of new listeners recently. I've been recommending to people that I meet. I think James Schaff has just discovered the show when I told him about it.
Cool.
Shout out to for that whole talk. It was really cool. And even people at Improv have been telling them about.
Nice.
So go if you're just getting started with us, go back and look through. We're not going to be gone forever. I guarantee it'll be less than a year.
Yeah.
I do not want to be gone for that long. But yeah, just enjoy what we have. And I know one thing I haven't pushed enough is our being in touch with us, because we're still on Twitter and Facebook. But I always forget to mention we have an email, sketchwatchplay@gmail.com. And we are open both to feedback and suggestions. Yes. If you send stuff our way and are like, have you ever thought about talking about this franchise? If I think that would be good for at least one of us or a guest to have on, I'd be like, yes, we do this, because I'm very open to, like, what do you guys want to hear? Mm-hmm. So there's that to do, and go back to our archives for now, and follow us on Twitter and YouTube and the like. But real quick, another thing I want to do real quick, and you might not have had time to prepare this. I'm going to say real quick, quick other media thoughts. So movies, TV, and games, and I'm going to get through mine real quick, and you can think about yours if you want. Spider-Man Far From Home. Much like Homecoming, very good, but not one of my absolute favorites, and unlucky enough to follow up on both Endgame and Spider-Verse. But I like what they did with Mysterio overall. The Peter and MJ interactions were great, and it has two of the most... Have you seen it?
Far From Home? No.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to say anything.
Serena's already spoiled me.
Well, I don't want to say anything on this either, but the first... both the middle the stringers are good because they're, like, super substantial for once. And the first one, much like when Red Skull pops up in Infinity War, someone pops up and I involuntarily screamed with joy. And if you are a Spider-Man fan, you have not been spoiled yet, go see it, because you're going to flip your shit. Mm-hmm. Flip your shit. And it's a good movie. Toy Story 4. Very pleasant surprise. I thought it managed to feel distinct from the previous ones, both due to the new... Have you seen it yet?
No.
Okay, but I'm not going to spoil anything. Both due to its new setting, primarily the carnival, and other than Woody, Buzz, and Bo Peep, it mostly focuses on new characters. Mm-hmm. The other ones are still there, but they're mostly of another group, and it helps. Key and Peele are hilarious. There's one scene that they give me my biggest laugh from a Toy Story movie ever.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah, and they do some smart stuff with the villain in it. Because as much as I've liked when they have a twist, like Frozen, Zootopia, Big Hero 6, Coco, all great movies, but it's like, it's gotten played out. Now you're expecting it. They give you your villain early on, and then by the end, they've done something entirely different with them than they usually do, and it's very nice.
That's good to hear.
And I've said before, like, yeah, I didn't cry at Toy Story 3, and not only did I actually guessed how they were going to end this, and yet in the last 2 minutes when it happened, the waterworks turned on instantly at this one point. Like, it got me hard, and I actually walked away from this thinking, this is a better finale than Toy Story 3 is. There's actually a sense of ending a character arc in this compared to 3, where it was more just like, here's a new owner. Here's like, this 4 is like, Woody is now a fully different person from where we started with him, and it's beautiful. Okay. So go see it. Detective Pikachu. Pretty good. We both saw this. Surprisingly gorgeous and stylish, the way the city looked. Pretty happy with Pokemon designs. Some good nods to Pokemon as a whole, and good use of individual Pokemon traits, like what they do with Mr. Mime. There's a bit with Ditto that legit threw me for a loop.
It's kind of horrifying.
It's great, though. Yeah, but I turned to Patrick when that happened. I was like, oh, God. But it was hilarious. I will say, the final plot of the villain is fucking insane. Yeah. It's like so fucking goofy, but you do get an amazing voice from Mewtwo to come from it, which made me very happy. And let me see what else. And but I also nice wrap up. And I will say my feelings of it were similar to if you go back and listen to our Battle Angel Alita episode. Like, what that is for anime and manga movies, this is for video game. I'm like, it's a decent movie on its own, but when you compare it to how shitty that track record has been for that type of adaptation, it paints a good picture for the future.
Good.
We're starting to get people who care about this kind of stuff, because I think the director and writers did.
Okay.
Love, Death, and Robots. You saw this. We're kind of split here. Not all shorts are winners. There are some that felt more reliant on raunch, language, or shock value, but most of them I genuinely liked or loved. I thought that getting to this much creativity, variety, and gorgeous animation of all sorts. I mean, I loved this. Chris is more... I'm
a little bit more critical.
Yeah.
If you like watching animation thinking that adult animation is defined by petty gore and violence and lots of sex scenes that kind of come out of nowhere, Love, Death, and Robots is for you. There's nothing wrong with just having some junk here and there. And I hate to call it junk, but some of it is just...
Nothing wrong with the ball sacks running around every now and then.
What is... There's a phrase. There's a YouTuber that we watch, Eric Tracks. He actually did a review on this. And he said...
discussed this from.
Well, yeah. And he said, it's horny garbage. And you know what? That's fine. If you want horny garbage, that's great.
And I'll say it's not all horny, and most of it is not garbage.
There are some really good ones that are apparently really good.
The steampunk yokai one. Did you watch that one with the fox spirit?
I did. I hated that one. I'm sorry.
You're dead to me. Anyway.
I'm dead to you. Wow.
No, you're not. But I'm like, that was incredible. Okay, Hilda's on the opposite side of the coin. This is how you do all age cartoon series. Mm-hmm. Also on Netflix. I've been watching it on Netflix. Great animation and music and writing and British actors. Mm-hmm. So charming, so clever. A great take on modern fantasy too.
Yeah.
Especially because this isn't a world where it's like only the kids know about all these creatures. It's like, no, this is like common life. It's so refreshing. Mm-hmm. And it's so sweet. And I love it. Next one. Rocko's Modern Life Static Cling.
That was good.
It went beyond what I was expecting. It's not just Rocko but in the modern day, and there's actually, not gonna spoil it, there's a very progressive twist laid on that they handled pretty well.
It felt like that they took what they did with Rocko and in the 90s, and they just kept going with it. I mean, there are some people who are like, it's Rocko's woke now, but it's like, guys, Joe Murray's always been woke.
Yes, Joe Murray's always been woke. Then
back in the day, he did an episode about Ed Bighead coming out of the closet.
Oh, clowns!
Yeah,
and it ends with Rocko going, "I like rainbows." And they chase him away.
Yeah, that happened, guys. That was a thing in the 90s.
Being forced to be chewy chicken.
Yeah,
yeah. Although Rocko did some stuff, but yeah, and they were very good at keeping the art style too. I watched interviews about how hard it was to. I think they even did some of it hand drawn rather than digitally.
Yeah,
that's nuts. And I still need to watch Zim. I'm a huge Zim fan, so I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
And finally, also I should mention, I'm meaning to watch soon Dragon Prince and Infinity Train, which I'm hearing good things about. You've recommended Dragon Prince.
I've recommended Dragon Prince. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, Metal Wolf Chaos XD. Chris had no idea what I'm talking about when I mentioned this. Go back to our E3 episode with me and Felipe last year. It's finally out. It's quite fun. Made by From Software, the makers of Dark Souls. All in English, though, where the 47th president, this is our future, the VP stages a coup and labels him as a terrorist. So you jump into your mech suit that you happen to have beneath the White House, jump out of the exploding Oval Office screaming, "Let's party," and decide to take America back by blowing everybody up.
Cool. All right.
It's pretty fun, and it is hysterical, though I think some of it is by accident. Granted, I don't think that him grabbing a missile and yelling, "Suck on my missile punch," and punching the vice president mech in the face with a missile, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, they did.
And, Chris, I know I put you on the spot, but do you have any other medias you would throw in like that?
I can't stay long. You've already mentioned a lot of them. Let's see. Damn.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that's fine. No. Fuck, I just had it. It was
It
was in my head, and I just had it.
Fuck, I just had it. That's my favorite.
Oh, God. Go watch Detective Pikachu if you haven't already. I thought that was...
It's on... You rent it now.
Yeah, I thought that was really fun. Check out Cannon Busters. Cannon Busters.
I was going to say, I was watching it before you came in. I'm 2 episodes in. I really like it. We were both tweeting about it.
Yeah.
That's such an exciting thing for anime representation too. I still can't believe that happened.
Yeah. If you're a fan of Trigun, if you're a fan of Cowboy Bebop,
very Space Western inspired,
Outlaw Star,
but predominantly black cast and creator.
It's fun. It's a fun show. It's still taking me a little bit to kind of warm up to this world because I'm not huge on sci-fi.
Oh, but I am.
But it's cool. It's really cool. Check it out.
And I'm episode a minute and a half in. I've already got the biggest crush on Sam.
Mm-hmm.
I got problems.
Check out Sonic the Hedgehog and OKKO. OKKO is
still need to watch it.
Yeah, I have. I've only seen like some of the majority of clips.
But it looks good.
Yeah, it does look cool.
It's ending soon. Did you hear about
that? It's already ended.
Did they air the finale already?
Mm-hmm. It's on the apps now, so you'll have to go check it out.
I'm only a little ways into that show, but I love it. Yeah. I still watch Steven. Someday we're going to do a whole Steven Universe episode.
I have to go.
Yes.
Because I'm going to pass my time. Okay. But everyone, thank you for having me again, John. And
thank you for coming.
Yeah, and I will catch you guys later.
Yes, we will be back. I'm going to keep this going. I'm going to wish you well.
Let me go to the bathroom first.
All right, I'm not going to watch for that.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Chris. Chris has gone to the bathroom, and I'm just going to wish everyone happy rest of your year. Maybe we'll see you back this Christmas, possibly, watching something crazy at Chris's house again, like Christmas tree. Go back to the Christmas tree episode and commentary. That was the favorite. But yeah, thanks to everybody for our audience has grown over the past year, particularly, and anybody who's been enjoying this. Thank you, because that's one of the reasons. That's probably the main reason I do stuff with this. It's just fun to share these sort of things and funny, either our takes or just funny talks about this sort of thing. And be it Chris, be it guests, it's fun making these things. Not so much editing them; that takes a long time, but it's worth it. But just sitting here and just talking these sort of things, it wouldn't happen otherwise. And the fact that we've got a bunch of people still continuing to come back to it means a lot. So for the rest of this year, I'm John.
And I'm Chris Wade.
And I can't think of a good... It's not a fatality. It's because we're not dying. It's not a fatality. We're not starting over.
Friendship!
Friendship saves the day.
Yay! Bye!
So will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. Everybody! We'll meet again.